PSG channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. Welcome back to yet another live broadcast on your favorite football updates channel. It's a pleasure to be back on this beautiful Wednesday night, the 11th of March 2026. We return again for another UEFA Champions League, night of action. And as we speak, games have already kicked off for the 11 p.m. kickoff, while Arsenal have just been held into a 1-1 draw against Bayer Leverkusen. There, Kai Havertz scoring a late penalty to make sure that Arsenal are not humiliated on their return to Germany, where in the last 6 trips they had only won once. So it was yet another night without a victory for the Gunners in that one. So we'll be, doing the watch along for the PSG Chelsea game, as well as Manchester City versus Real Madrid. I'll be doing my best to keep tabs on all those fixtures tonight, so that you do not miss out on a single piece of action. You'll allow me have our audios tested, make sure everything is up to date and we are up to speed running, so that we can continue with tonight's broadcast. But otherwise, I wish to say thank you to all our new subscribers, those that have recently joined the community. We say thank you so much for choosing to be part of the Football Tribe UG community. We hope you get to enjoy your stay with us on the channel for as long as we exist. So really, anyways, let me check out our audios just to make sure everything checks out on my secondary device. Really, I think we're good to go. I think we are good to go in as far as the audios are concerned. But yeah, games are still goalless. PSG up at home against Chelsea. PSG very unconvincing. Meanwhile, Joao Pedro has already missed a chance in that one. While Manchester City are really pressing Real Madrid's nose on the other one. So, oh, come on. Why is my screen a bit yellowish? Anyway, I hope your experience is different. Do I need to re-clean my screen? Because I did, but sometimes good is not good enough. So, let me see if I can try and have my screen cleaned slightly better before we even proceed any further. You'll excuse me on that bit. Yes, I think and hope that's better. Apologies. Sometimes these things happen, but yeah, we are good to go. We are good to go for tonight's action. So we'll be following all the events as we did last night. And for those of you that were part of last night's broadcast, thank you so much for choosing to be part of us. We do appreciate your continued love and support. For those of you that join us every single night in our respective broadcasts that come at 11 p.m. East African time, while we have routine broadcasts in the morning at 9 a.m. So thank you so much for those of you that continue to support what we do. Today, we did put out a video looking at the drop-off of form in PSG. We did explain that, why there is a drop-off of form in that PSG side that was so excellent last season, going on to win win their first UEFA Champions League title when they obliterated Inter Milan in the finals there. So tonight, they extend with their exploits, hoping to knock out two-time champions in Chelsea, who won the competition in 2012 and in 2021. So that's their journey thus far, or that will be the hope. We'll be looking at the starting 11s for all for the two main games. That's PSG versus Chelsea. We'll look at the lineups for Manchester City away against Real Madrid, and bring you up to speed how all teams have set up themselves for tonight's laborious action as they take on some of the arch nemesis. I think for the last 5 consecutive seasons, Manchester City have met Real Madrid in the competition at one stage or the other of the UEFA Champions League. Either it's been at the group stage, but majority at the knockout rounds, either at the playoffs or at the semi-final or at the quarter-final. They've done it all. And tonight is another edition of the round of 16. I think the last time they met at the round of 16, is it not Man City that beat Real Madrid 2-1 home and away to go through? Oh, Jeremy Doku with a cutback that crosses through that, entire box of Real Madrid, and there was no Man City player to put his foot to that to ensure that, Man City get a lead in that one. All right. So quickly. All right. I think I found what I was looking for. But quickly, let's run through some of those starting 11s. I can see we have some comments streaming through from Diabs Ndiaye. Hi Ndiaye. How are you doing? You say Mache. Is that French? That sounds like French. Mache. Sounds French. Ndiaye, how are you doing, my brother? Where are you joining us from? For what I'm acclimatized to when it comes to names like Ndiaye, I would want to suggest you're Senegalese. The name is synonymous with the Senegalese. Oh, that's a beautiful corner kick brought in by Adagula. Real Madrid putting on the press themselves. It's a goal. Bradley Barcola fires PSG into the lead against Chelsea, and it's 1-0. Remember, we talked about PSG needing to plot their revenge against Chelsea, who beat them by 3-0 in the finals of the FIFA Club World Cup during the course of the summer. So really, it's 1-0. Bradley Barcola there, on target, beautiful goal for a player that has struggled for form, has been very inconsistent, missed a golden chance against Monaco in their 3-1 loss in the French League One last week on Friday, has really put this one into the back of the net. Felipe Jorgensen could only watch it go into the back of the net. João Neves with the head assist, heading it down for Bradley Barcola, and it's 1-0. Speaking of starting 11s, we'll start with the team that has squad, and they do have Matevi Safanov in goal. They do have Akraf Hakimi, Marquinhos, William Apacho, as well as Nuno Mendes. In midfield, it's Joao Neves, Vitinha, and Warren Zaïre-Emery, while Desli Due, Ousmane Dembele, and Bradley Barcola are the ones leading the lines in the 4-3-3 kind of system. On the bench, they do have Lucas Tavelia, they have Renato Marin, they have Lucas Belardo, Ilya Zabani, Lucas Hernandez, Lee Kang-in, Pedro Fernandez, Kivicha Kvaratskhelia, Goncalo Ramos, Sene Mayiru, and Ibrahim Mbaye. That's PSG. Chelsea, on the other side, have set up with Felipe Jorgensen in goal, Wesley Fofana, Trevor Chalobah, Malo Gusto, Marc Cucurella, Moises Caicedo, Reche James, Enzo Fernandez, Cole Palmer, Pedro Neto, and Joao Pedro. That's how they've set themselves up tonight. On the bench, they have Robert Sanchez, Max Marik. They do have Tosin Aderabiot, Benoit Badiashile, Mamadou Sarr, Jorel Hato, Joshua Achepong. Those are all defenders. Andre Santos, a midfielder, as well as Romeo Lavia. Meanwhile, PSG trying to find the second here, but fall short. Then they do have Romeo Lavia, Liam Delap, Marc Guéhi, as well as Alejandro Garnacho. That's how Chelsea look like. If I'm being honest, that Chelsea bench is a bit lightweight. When you look at Tosin Adarabioyo, Benoit Badiashile, those are not elite defenders, really. When you look at Liam Delap, not an elite striker, is yet to find his footing in the Chelsea colours. Marc Guéhi, I've hardly seen him star in a Chelsea jersey other than his exploits in the UEFA Conference League last season. So really, maybe Garnacho can come off the bench and, give you a bit of width and speed. So that is happening over there. So quickly, let's move on to the Real Madrid side and see how they've set up. It's still goalless between Real Madrid and Manchester City. But of course, Real Madrid have Thibaut Courtois in goal. They have Alexander Trent-Arnold at right back. They have Antonio Rudiger and Dean Haasen in the centre-back pairing, as well as Ferland Mendy. At left back, in midfield, they have Fede Valverde, Thiago Picha, Pina, as well as Aurelio Chouameni and Adagula. And ahead of them is Brahim Diaz as well as Vinicius Jr. On the bench, Real Madrid have Andre Lunin, Fran Gonzalez, Dani Carvajal, Raul Asensio, Fran Garcia, Diego Aguado. They do have Eduardo Camavinga. They do have Manuel Angel. They do have Gonzalo Garcia as well as Franco Masantuano and a couple of other kids in there. Then on the side of Manchester City, they have Gianluigi Donnarumma in goal, Mark Gui alongside Ruben Diaz, Nico O'Reilly, and Kushanov on the right back. In midfield, it's Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Jeremy Doku to the side, Savinho, who I did not think would start this one, as well as Anton Semenyo and Bart Erling Haaland. I do question Pep Guardiola's selection of Savinho to start in this one ahead of somebody like a Tijan Reinders in that midfield, or perhaps even a Ryan Cherki or even a Phil Foden, because they are all on the bench. Phil Foden, Omar Mamosh, Matas Nunes, and Nico Gonzalez, Tijan Reinders, Max Alenia, Ryan Echnory, Nathan Ake, John Stones, Marcus Bentinelli, a goalkeeper, as well as James Trafford. That's how those two sides have set up. So it's still goalless between Real Madrid and PSG. Between Real Madrid and Manchester City, while PSG lead by a goal to nil against Chelsea. I may be forced to change or switch. I think I need to switch my screen setup because I may struggle to keep up the way I planned to keep up on things. Let me put my Real Madrid game on my primary screen. It will be a minute behind in terms of my stream, but I think it's a risk worth taking as opposed to relying on my secondary screen. Let me use my secondary screen. Oh! Ousmane Dembele just forced Felipe Jurgensen into a save. So PSG are really, really pumped and hyped for this one. They'll need to keep up the heat. Jeremy Doku is twisting and turning heads. Fede Valverde with a timely intervention on that occasion. We're already into the 15th minute of the game. 16th minute of the game. I'm doing everything it takes to make sure that I have the perfect setup to deliver the best for you guys in terms of updates. I think I may have found a solution. Felipe Jurgensen got attached to that one and put it to the crossbar, but Ousmane Dembele was really, really close with a powerful shot. He can take on shots with both feet, whether it's his right or left. You can never tell which one is the stronger foot for Ousmane Dembele. He is such a talent with his feet on that one. Bodo Glimt against Sporting Lisbon is still goalless. My prediction for that one was a draw, contrary to what many people with whom I was sharing a forum earlier on today did think. They think eventually Bodo Glimt will overpower Sporting CP in that cramped up, a stadium in Norway. For the Real Madrid game, I did tilt towards Manchester City, while Chelsea, over 2 legs, I do think they could knock out PSG, but do not count PSG out of it just yet, because really they may have struggled against Monaco in the domestic derby for the UEFA Champions League playoffs. They can come good on any given day and turn up the heat. So, Chelsea just missed a golden opportunity to restore parity. Pedro Neto going on a brilliant counterattack. Marquinhos could hardly keep up, nearly fouled him, but I think the block came through from Nuno Mendes or William Pacho before Matevi Safanov intervened. Meanwhile, it's going to be a long night for Alexander Trent-Arnold. I think it's going to be a long evening for Alexander Trent-Arnold up against Jeremy Doku. Meanwhile, my internet is not the best tonight. It's been misbehaving. I understand my subscription is bound to be due in a couple of days, but that shouldn't be justification for this poor service, really. Wow. Julian Pacho is the one that came in with a timely block before Safanova picked up the pieces. For those of you that are just joining us, please do not forget to like the broadcast. Thank you. My feed for the Real Madrid game is just suffered. Oh, it's a goal for Real Madrid. Fede Valverde on target. Wow. You could argue it's been against the run of play, but a very long pass from Thibaut Courtois, and then Fede Valverde gets the better of Gianluigi Donnarumma, who had come to salvage the missed defensive opportunity of Nico O'Reilly, gets dribbled past. I don't know why he did not put his arm to that one, but in the end, Fede Valverde scored in an empty net. Off. PSG are once again giving away so many spaces in behind them, and sooner rather than later, Chelsea may come to punish them. Chelsea might come to punish them. Isabella Martin, hello, how are you doing? Good to have you back on the broadcast. Kindly do us the absolute usual honors of liking the broadcast, but also, okay, for those of you that are joining us for the first time, please consider subscribing to the channel while you enjoy the action, wherever it is that you're following the updates are from, on this UEFA Champions League night. That means we only have one game that is yet to produce a goal, and that's the game between Sporting CP and Bodo Glimt. Real Madrid are looking to go long once again so that they can perhaps force Manchester City into errors. Beautiful, beautiful action tonight. Oh, Bodo Glimt, wow, coming close to getting the lead, just could not hit the target. Guys, I'm really, really struggling with some really poor internet speeds. Liam Rasinia trying to command his team into order. Funny thing about this Real Madrid side is that they can be poor all season and then turn up the heat as soon as they arrive in the UEFA Champions League. And you wonder to yourself, where's been that form all throughout the campaign for as long as the La Liga season has lasted? Another screen freeze. Forgive my frustrations there. Oh. Joao Pedro's header was an easy collection for Matevi Safonov, the Russian goalkeeper. Couple of Russian players playing in the French League One. Alexander Govin at AC Monaco, one of the others. Oh, that's a brilliant save from the Sporting CP goalkeeper to keep it 0-0. And on they go on a counter-attack. Here they come. Can they find the lead? Interesting stuff. Really, really interesting stuff. Marquinhos goes long to find Bacola. Just giving us so much space in their final third. They will get punished. I had to scrum there for a moment. Uh-oh. Oh! Bradley Bacola with an attempt from the edge of the 18 yards box and wasn't far off, but it looks like Felipe Jakobsen was right there, got his fingertips to it, in fact. Bradley Bacola, every time I watch him, he reminds me of the common saying of a former AC Villa left back, David Indahiro. No, former AC Villa, URA. Former AC Villa, David Indahiro, who joined Vipers at some point. I don't know if he's still there. He used to say small body, big minds, and Bradley Bacola is one of those players. Small body, big minds. You know, and there's something really common about these PSG profile players. When you look at Kivicha Kvaratskhelia, Bradley Bacola, Dressley Doué, Ousmane Dembele, when you look at Vitinha, Joao Neves, they're not that big, they're not that tall. All sort of modest kind of players. If football players were judged by the sizes of their bodies, you surely would despise a majority of them. They can be very effective in what they do, can be really, really effective in what they do. Vinicius Jr. is yet to have a moment in that game. It's a goal. Real Madrid 2, Fede Valverde was just about to criticize Vinicius Jr. to have yet had a moment tonight in this UEFA Champions League tie, and then he provided the assist. He provided the assist for Fede Valverde, and Real Madrid are leading Manchester City by 2-1, while Chelsea on the other side have scored to restore parity against PSG. It's 1-1. PSG 1, Chelsea 1. Real Madrid 2, Manchester City 0. Fede Valverde, beautiful take. Beautiful take. Off. Malo Gusto with the equalizer in that Chelsea game. But Gianluigi Donnarumma, with all his height, you would have hoped he would have done better. Wow. Fede Valverde, the captain, leading by example, has only 2 Spanish La Liga goals. He's not been in the best of form this season, but now he seems to have turned up the heat on the nights. And they're having a go at Manchester City. Typical Real Madrid counter-attacking football. Vinicius Jr. darting through a couple of players, and Real Madrid just being effective with their chances on the other side. Manchester City's midfielders look lightweight, if we are being honest. That's why I told you I wasn't too sure about Pep Guardiola's selection of Savinho to start in this one. You're playing away against Real Madrid. You may think they've not had a great season thus far in the UEFA Champions League, but they deserve all the respect that they get. There is a reason as to why they have 15 accolades in the competition, and they are the most successful. So I don't know if it was a result of complacency or whatever the idea of a strategy for Pep Guardiola, but they're being exposed left, right, and center. Not that Man City have had the best of seasons either, but on any measure of account, bearing in mind that they are still in 4 competitions, you must feel that they've had a better season than Real Madrid thus far. I feel that Manchester City midfield has become a little too easy to exploit. Meanwhile, there appears to be a penalty in the Bodo Glimt game. Bodo Glimt players have protested the decision. Doesn't look like the referee will relent. Let's see what to make of that. All Real Madrid are trying to do is play as many passes in behind that Manchester City defense, and then they're having the players run right onto them. Meanwhile, Bodo Glimt have scored from the penalty spot to take the lead against Sporting Lisbon, and it's 1-0. Like I told you earlier on, Arsenal shared the spoils in a 1-1 draw against away to Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen giving Arsenal a test of their own medicine, and they scored in the 46th minute from a corner kick. Ball dipped in at the back end of the post, and nobody was covering that area. William Saliba could only look on, and they headed it into the back of the net. David Raya could only jump for nothing. You'll forgive me, my Bodo Glimt feed is a bit minutes behind, or at least more than a minute behind, because of my poor internet speeds. But that's a brilliant penalty from Bodo Glimt. Really, really brilliant. Goalkeeper got sent in the opposite direction. Manchester City. Chelsea are really, really pressing well against this PSG side, being quite effective. Once PSG have possession, they sort of move into a back 3 kind of shape. Achraf Hakimi moves deep into the Chelsea half. They take it on from there. That was a poor pass from Bradley Bacola. But PSG have possession. Back again. PSG have quite a strong bench. Look at the likes of Goncalo Ramos, Kivica Kvaratskhelia, Ibrahim Baye, Senima Yuru, Pedro Fernandez, Lee Kang-in. Some of those players that can be summoned from the bench. They do miss Fabian Ruiz, in my opinion. I dream of a day when I can sit in my broadcast room and have like 5 or 4 screens showing games. TV here, TV here, TV here, TV there, in that sort of setup, in sort of a T kind of shape. Perhaps someday, one day, God willing, inshallah. Meanwhile, I've come to understand that our Muslim brothers still have up to 10 days into the month of Ramadan. Hope that's going well for you. Anton Semenyo has been a bit absent in today's fixture. He's not gotten himself plenty of times on the ball, as perhaps Pep Guardiola would have loved him to be. They've used the Jeremy Doku wing a little more than that of Anton Semenyo. Jeremy Doku's athleticism and energy is something quite commendable, but his final touch sometimes and decision making is the equivalent of that of Anthony Elanga and Arsenal's Noni Madueke, who won them that penalty. I really, really struggle about their finishing touch. That final ball, if they can work on it, they will be much, much better players. Noni Madueke, Jeremy Doku, and Anthony Elanga need to watch as many videos as they can of Michael Olise or even Ousmane Dembele. I think it will give them a lesson or two. Chelsea and PSG have all games tonight are quite very open-ended. Both teams are having a go at each other. It's who turns out to be more effective on the other side that carries the day. So far, Real Madrid have been the more effective side. Against Man City, Bodo Glimt have had as many as 6 attempts on the Sporting CP goal. Only 2 on target, but 6 attempts on goal. If you guys could see my setup, screen on top of a screen. Mati Safanov had to come out of his goal. Real Madrid are defending really, really well. Fede Valverde, I think, knows too well the inefficiencies of Alexander Trent Arnold at right back. So he's often coming back in time to help him out. And they've been quite effective in doing so. Meanwhile, some of the key takeaways from the first 2 days of the round of 16 or the first legs of the round of 16 is UEFA referees will not take any shenanigans that do happen in during set piece plays, particularly corner kicks and perhaps long throw-ins from English teams. Now, I understand that the sort of stance they're trying to take, but some have been overreaching or some have been too harsh. They've given yellow cards for almost nothing. I've seen that in the Arsenal game. I mean, it's okay for the referee to blow his wrist and say, hold on a minute, stop the pushing and shoving and tags and all that. But to issue yellow cards for it before even a ball is played in, not for me. Not the kind of officiating that I would want to see. Thus far, Fede Valverde has been my man of the match. Oh, Chelsea. Oh, PSG on the counter-attack. Ousmane Dembele. And he scored. It's 2-1. Ousmane Dembele on the counter-attack. Matevi Safonov with a brilliant serve on the other side. PSG go on the counter-attack and they end up scoring. PSG 2, Chelsea 1. The restored parity. Meanwhile, my prediction for that one was a 2-all draw. Given how the game has gone thus far, I still stand by it. But you never know. Oh, Wesley Fofana came back in time to recover with Marco Correa, but Ousmane Dembele sort of toys with him there as though he's going to pass it to an on-running Achraf Hakimi, but then goes back to his right side and puts the ball in the back of the net. Ousmane Dembele with 2 goals in 7 games of the UEFA Champions League this season. Both of those goals coming, one of those coming tonight. I don't know. I have a certain love for PSG kids. Usually they look nice. Real Madrid pressing Man City for the third. If Man City dare concede the third, it will be a whole mountain to climb. It already is one. It's a goal, and it's a hat-trick for Fede Valverde. Real Madrid 3, Manchester City 1. Man City are getting their AWSs handed to them. Excuse the language. But wow, what a night. What a night Fede Valverde is having. What a shambolic piece of defending Manchester City are having. It's a hat-trick for Fede Valverde, and not just a hat-trick, but a first-half hat-trick. Oh, Mark Gay with some really, really poor piece of defending. Oh, Fede Valverde nicks the ball right underneath him. And then Gianluigi Donnarumma hid his face instead of keeping the eyes on the ball. What a night. What a night at the Santiago Bernabeu it is turning out to be. Could we be destined for a quarterfinal between Bayern Munich and Real Madrid? Could it be? Anything can happen. But Manchester City are in out of their depth on this one tonight. Ferland Mendy has done just good enough in that left back position. And for whatever Alexander Trent-Arnold has lacked, Fede Valverde has always been back to help him defensively. In fact, there's a way Fede Valverde occupies the wider spot in the right back position, and then Alexander Trent-Arnold tucks into sort of closer to the center backs as though he wants to dart into that midfield space. So it's being well covered. Meanwhile, it's 2-0 Bodo Glimt half squad, the second of the night. One of those bogey sides. They are the surprise package of the UEFA Champions League this season. Teams must dread going to that cramped up stadium over at Fisher Turf. But it's Bodo Glimt 2 and Sporting Lisbon 0. If it goes that way, wow. Appears like home teams are looking to win tonight. Meanwhile, even back in 2001, 2002, when Bayer Leverkusen met Arsenal, it was a 1-1 draw in German. Ray Parlour got a red card in that one, but the reverse fixture ended in a 4-1 victory for the Arsenal with Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira, Robert Pires, and Dennis Bergkamp among being the goal scorers for Arsene Charles Wenger's side at the time, although that was a group stage game. Somebody is already reminding me of the discussion we had earlier on in the day when he sort of cited out Makui, you know. We've headed into halftime. PSG leading 2-1 against Chelsea. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. What a scintillating first half, opening 45 minutes we've witnessed. Real Madrid 3, Man City 0, PSG 2, 1 Chelsea. Very open-ended game and kind of football. Manchester City have lacked the biting teeth. They have lacked the biting teeth tonight. They've hardly created any chances on the other side to trouble Thibaut Courtois, you know. They've hardly created any chances. Meanwhile, earlier on, like I told you, Arsenal were held by Leverkusen to a 1-1 draw with Andrich. That is Robert Andrich was the goal scorer for that header in the 46th minute to give Bayer Leverkusen the lead thanks to a beautifully flirted in corner kick by Grimaldo. And then Kai Havertz's 89th minute penalty that was nearly saved by Blaswich there ensured that Arsenal do not end their night in defeat on their trip to Germany. So that means that in 7 trips for the Gunners in Germany, they've only won 1 there, so it's not a good record for the Gunners over during trips in Germany. But first of all, quickly to the PSG Chelsea game, a beautiful game of football there. Bradley Barcola and Ousmane Dembele scoring for PSG, while Malo Gusto squad for Chelsea. It's been a very it's been quite the scintillating first half. PSG with 5 shots on target compared to Chelsea's 3. 2 off target for Chelsea. PSG edging possession to the tune of 57% compared to Chelsea's 43%. There've been 1 corner kick for PSG and 2 for Chelsea. PSG have been fairly dominant, but I've thought that Chelsea have tried to deal with them quite well, especially when it comes to their midfield threat, but they've not dominated the midfield as you'd have loved them to do if they were to put themselves in a better fighting position thus far in this game. So that is what is happening on that regard. Nico O'Reilly is not having the night of his life. I do suspect that they could bring on Ryan Attenori in the second half because Nico O'Reilly has struggled through the game. Meanwhile, Mikel Arteta must be watching Real Madrid and is wondering, how are they scoring 3 plus Manchester City? Because he must be taking notes because he has to play Manchester City in the EFL Cup final in less than 2 weeks. Actually, in exactly 11 days from now, really. And then after that, you will have to play him in the reverse fixture of the Premier League at the Etihad Stadium. So, but nonetheless, I do suspect that he won't be fielding the same team when he faces Arsenal. Yeah, so really, they should be doing better. But first of all, I must commend Real Madrid. I must really commend Real Madrid. They, of course, they never care about possession and things like that. All they care about is win the ball back, quick transitions, counterattacks, and bang, goals will rain in. The first goal, you see, it's a very long passer from Thibaut Courtois into Fede Valverde, who beats Nico O'Reilly, dribbles past Gianluigi Donnarumma and scores in an empty net. The second goal, on the other side, the ball is passed to Vinicius Junior, dribbles past a couple of players through, and then passes it to Fede Valverde, who, bang, it's 2-0. And then for the second, for the third goal, to make his hat-trick on the night, ball is flicked to him. McKay could not deal with it, and or he slept on the job or hesitated to commit on that, and then Fede Valverde flicks it over him before again having another bang at Gianluigi Donnarumma. Now, for all the good side of Gianluigi Donnarumma, he all the time Real Madrid have come calling, he's not responded even once. It's been 4 shots on target for Real Madrid compared to Manchester City's only 1, despite them dominating possession. 2 block shots off target for Manchester City, but they've been nowhere near effective. Even though they've gotten 3 corner kicks in that one compared to Real Madrid's one. But Nico O'Reilly is really, really struggling. In the last couple of games, he's just, by the way, returned from injury, but in the last couple of games where he was scoring, I think he had scored about 3 goals. He was being played in midfield where he ordinarily should be playing. Now, as Fede Valverde dribbles past Gianluigi Donnarumma in the first goal, I do not know why Gianluigi Donnarumma does not stretch his arms out to put his hand to that ball, because he is still in the 18-yard box. He is still in his jurisdiction. So I do not know why he does what he does. Now, Vinicius Jr., wow, that through ball. It takes a bit of a deflection. I think is it off Ruben Diaz? Yeah, it takes a deflection of Ruben Diaz before falling in the lap of Fede Valverde. One touch, second touch, bang, on his weaker foot. That's the left foot, and it's a goal. So really, really beautiful performance from Real Madrid there. Then a cheeky pass from Brahim Diaz, flicking it over the head of Ruben Diaz. Makui sort of hesitated to close down. He sort of could not read that fast enough, and the ball gets flicked over him by Fede Valverde, and bang, is goal number 3. So very, very effective, a Real Madrid performance in as far as the first half is concerned. I'll be surprised if Pep Guardiola does not make at least 2 changes at the start of the second half. You need to take off Nico O'Reilly for Ryan Atonori. You need to take off Savinho for an extra man in that midfield. You need a Tijan Reinders. You need a Phil Foden. I do not know, a Ryan Chucky in there. You got to put a body in that midfield because he lets himself bear. Because, I mean, he has what? He has 4 wingers on the 3 wingers on the pitch. I mean, Jeremy Doku, Savinho, Antoine Semenyo, all wingers, 3 of them, Jude Bellingham could not believe Fede Valverde's 3rd goal. Fede Valverde is doing things that Jude Bellingham would dream of doing. He's out through injury there. So really, and then, okay, so those are the changes that I would expect from Pep Guardiola going into the second half. And then earlier on, the Arsenal game against Bayer Leverkusen, it was a typical Arsenal game versus a team playing with a low block, because every time Bayer Leverkusen conceded possession, they retreated into a low block. It's like they had gone back and watched all Premier League games that Arsenal have had to play through this season, because majority of those Arsenal have had to play against low blocks, and they've struggled against them. Yes, they've won a good chunk of them, or a good number of them, but many of them have ended in draws. That's why Arsenal have as many as 7 draws thus far, I think, in the Premier League. So they really, really did their homework. They really, really did their homework. You ought to give it to them. And then they went on the other side and capitalized on the set piece, and bang, they took the lead in that game. So really, we just have to, again, Arsenal struggled with the lack of creativity. They could not get Victor Gyökeres on the ball. You could feel that they lacked that control on the ball in midfield, in terms of composure, in terms of penetrative passes. They were not taking many risks. Oftentimes, they again look for safety, looking to turn behind, and a player makes a run up front, and then yes, he has maybe 1 or 2 options in front, and then he chooses to turn back and go back, really. So it was a very, very wanting performance from Arsenal, but they'll take solace in knowing that they left German without losing on the night. Perhaps that will be their only consolation there. So really very, very interesting stuff from there. But Arsenal will know that that performance that they did give was very, very wanting. And in fact, even when you look at the statistics from that game, I mean, of course, they had an opportunity with Gabriel Martinelli that hit the inside of the crossbar. They had only 2 attempts on target because the other came from Piero Hincapié. That was the second shot on target. The other was the penalty, similar to sort of the performance that Barcelona gave yesterday against Newcastle. Not that Bayer Leverkusen played like a Newcastle, but Bayer Leverkusen were the more effective side. They had 3 shots on target, 4 off target. Again, I struggle to think, why can't Arsenal? You see, when I've already said this, that when you're playing against a low block, you do not look for those chunks of spaces. You're not going to find them to play through them. You need that tiny bit of space. Make a half-second quick decision earlier on and bang, go from distance. Look to trouble the goalkeeper from distance. But yeah, they did not do that. Then also, quickly, Bodo Glimt have a halftime 2-0 lead against Sporting CP. Goes from 30 from the penalty spot, as well as Bloomberg have the Norwegian side into the 2-0 lead against Sporting CP. Guys, if Arsenal can make it past Bayer Leverkusen, they will dread playing this Bodo Glimt side. They will dread playing them, because it's a quite stubborn side. They're quite a stubborn side. You know, I've watched them a couple of times. They're quite stubborn. First of all, they do not concede so many goals. They defend really, really well. Over 2 legs against Inter Milan, they only conceded, I think, one. Sorry, they conceded twice because they won the first leg 2-1 and then the reverse fixture 3-1. Against Man City, they won 3-1. They only conceded one. Against Atletico de Madrid, they won 2-1. So they're very effective going forward, but also fairly effective at defending their backline. So you really, really ought to put that in mind or in context. But so far, so good for the Norwegian side there. And I do suspect that there's already a couple of clubs circling around some of their players to see those that they can poach away from Bodo Glimt. I first watched them last season during their exploits in the UEFA Europa League. I think they went as far as the semis when they got knocked out by Tottenham. Was it the semis or the quarterfinals? I think one of the two, because I remember Tottenham on their way also met Eintracht Frankfurt, who they knocked out. So it's been that sort of night thus far in as far as the UEFA Champions League is concerned. The second halves are bound to return quite shortly. In fact, I think we're back for... I mean, PSG's counter-attacking football is really, really... It's something you do not want to come up against. It's something you do not want to come up against, really, because when you see... Meanwhile, Real Madrid have made a first half change. They've withdrawn Ferland Mendy for Fran Garcia. If I'm Manchester City, I'm going to target Ferran Garcia. Fran Garcia is not a good player. And like I told you, Pep needed to make a change in the second half, and he's taken off Savinho for Tijan Reinders. As soon as I saw that Savinho selection, I knew that was a poor decision from Pep Guardiola. Whatever his game strategy was, that was a poor decision. You know, we often want to believe that managers know better, and indeed they know better, but it's not to say that they do not commit mistakes. Anyways, we are back for the Real Madrid game for the second half. And excuse me. Yeah, it's been quite a long day. Meanwhile, Manchester City need at least 2 goals in this game. If they can take it to the Etihad Stadium at 3-2, then they will have a big fighting chance. But if it ends with that 3-goal margin, then it will be a whole mountain Everest for Manchester City to climb, because it's not very common that Real Madrid do not score in a Champions League game. It's not very common. Real Madrid, here they come again. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh. Gianluigi Donnarumma with a brilliant save. At least he's kicked off the second half with a brilliant save. Somebody is asking online, so what's the difference between Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspurs of last night at the moment? Ah. I think the difference is Kiski and Donnarumma. All right. Okay. Yeah, of course, the PSG game is equally back. Action has already resumed, as is the Bodo Glimt game for against Sporting CP. Real Madrid are back. Oh, oh. Nico O'Reilly just missed a golden opportunity to pull one back for Manchester City, right from close range in a corner kick, and he could not tap that one in at the back end of the post. Meanwhile, Real Madrid is without some of their star players in Jude Bellingham and Kylian Mbappe. So the hope is that Kylian Mbappe will be available for the reverse fixture next week at the Etihad Stadium. So if that were to be the case, then it will be another whole lot of nightmares for Manchester City, because we know how effective he's been thus far in the UEFA Champions League. I think he has about 13 goals to his name already. Anton Semenyo, pass blocked out, was trying to look for Ruben Diaz. No, sorry, not Ruben Diaz, Bernardo Silva. No, Bernardo Silva is the Manchester City captain. Ruben Diaz is his deputy. And then Brad Erling Haaland, I think, is the third captain or second vice captain. Or sometimes I feel Richie James is overly confident of his abilities. Whenever he plays, it doesn't get quite even ever, but perhaps he is indeed confident. Oh, Joao Neves puts it out. Cole Palmer was having a run for it. PSG ought to worry about Chelsea when it comes to set pieces. Was that really offside for Vinicius Jr.? Didn't look like it, but it was judged to be. I've seen assistant referees get it wrong when it comes to offsides. We do have a comment from Alnethi Sakani. Hi, how are you doing? Good to have you on the podcast. How are you doing? Where are you joining us from? How is your evening? I hope you're enjoying the action from the UEFA Champions League thus far. Uh-oh. Somebody said, press so hard that Pep Guardiola never gets his hands on João Neves because the things he will do with him. Such an effective player. Very young, only 20 years of age, coming on 21 thereabout. He's so good. So good on the ball. And off the ball, by the way. He's relentless in his runnings. Looks like the Real Madrid ball boys are not willing to give the ball to those Man City players quick enough. Sporting Lisbon have meanwhile been firing blanks all night. Off. Antoine Semenyo's attempt is kept out by Thibaut Courtois. Talked about individual players standing out, and Thibaut Courtois ought to be one of those that stand tall for Real Madrid, just like Fede Valverde has done on the other side. It's an element that sometimes Arsenal are lacking. That player that picks himself out and takes the bull by both horns and sort of gets the game in his stride and makes the difference. Yes, it's a team sport, but sometimes you need that standout player. You need that Fede Valverde performance on the night. They know they had it last season when they knocked out Real Madrid, beating them by 3-0 in the first leg. It was Declan Rice's night. Meanwhile, Vinicius Jr. runs up Gianluigi Donnarumma, and it's a penalty for Real Madrid. Penalty for Real Madrid. Vinicius Jr. wins it. Gianluigi Donnarumma Vinicius Jr. was trying to round him up. Who is that long pass from? Was that Alexander Trent-Arnold? Because he's capable of whipping those. He misses the ball. Does he get touch on Vinny Jr.? That looks like a dive. That looks like a dive from Vinicius Jr. I'm a Real Madrid fan, but that looks like a dive. Gianluigi Donnarumma sort of misses his leg. There's an attempt to catch the ball, but he misses the ball and does not have a grip on Vinicius Jr. There's a slight contact between the two players, but That's got to be harsh. But because it's not a clear and obvious error from the referee, then you really, really can't debate it that much. He almost like knew the contact was coming anytime. Meanwhile, he's been booked with a yellow card for denying a goal scoring opportunity. It's Vinicius Jr. who'll be taking the penalty. He won it, and it's his to take in the absence of Kylian Mbappe. Here he comes. Oh, Donnarumma saved it. He tried to be smart, but Gianluigi Donnarumma has saved it. And it remains 3-0. For all that he didn't do in the first half, he's done well thus far in the second half, Gianluigi Donnarumma. He had a save earlier on in the half, and now he's just saved a penalty to keep it 3-0. Really apologizes to those Real Madrid fans in the stands. They know he's capable of doing better than what he just did there. Oh. Chelsea are not having the second half they had hoped for. They're constantly conceding possession to PSG. And it's almost been one-way traffic thus far in the second half. Here they come. Pedro Neto. Can he have a better? Oh, it's a goal. It's 2-2. Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez. If it ends that way, it would have been a perfect score prediction for me, who predicted the 2-2 draw between Chelsea and PSG. But it's still a long way to go in this second half. Only 59 minutes thereabout played, almost an hour. Uh-oh. Desle Doué slept on the job. I mean, the ball was there for the taking. He let Pedro Neto steal it, and he made a run for it, made the perfect pass for Enzo Fernandez, and he tapped it into the back of the net, and it's 2-2. Meanwhile, whatever Man City are cooking is not boiling at all. But Erling Haaland has been a ghost tonight. You almost forget he's on the pitch. Oh, that's a brilliant save from Gianluigi Donnarumma. Oh. Vinicius Jr. tried to do that sort of jump and place it. Did not work out at all. Meanwhile, Bodo Glimt are looking for the third against Sporting CP. And should they dare get the third, then it will be a whole mountain climb for Sporting CP. PSG are preparing to bring on Kivica Kvaratskhelia. Ah, Ban is back with us. Ban was with us last night. Hi, Ban. Good to have you back on this channel. Salutations, Uncle. Can't stay for the stream tonight. Just wanted to say, keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Ban. I hope you've had a wonderful day. I hope you're doing okay. Do enjoy yourself tonight as you watch any of those games that you could be enjoying. But thank you so much for sparing a moment to come and leave us a comment. Ban is from Ireland. Uh-oh. Adagula tried to have an attempt from distance, but could not keep it on target. But Erling Haaland has been in there chasing shadows. Think I need to take a dig at him on X. I don't know why I always misspell Erling Haaland's name. I just put the double A last instead of first. Desle Due has been withdrawn for Kivica Kvaratskhelia. Meanwhile, Chouameni appears to be limping. Chouameni appears to be limping. It's not a good sign for Real Madrid, for a team that is already dealing with so many injuries. For a team that is already dealing with so many injuries, that's not a good sign. I think they've had to take him off. He's still getting treatment, but it appears to be a knee issue. Pep Guardiola is preparing to bring on Ranchaki. Chouameni appear to be in a lot of pain, almost as if to suggest that it's not ready to return. Uh-oh. I think Chouameni landed quite poorly. How do they call that spray that is applied on players' knees and things like that, and they get injured in the game? I remember back in our school days, we used to call it Simodex. Not sure the word does even exist, but Vinicius Jr. looking to make amends. Tried to bend that one into the far post, but could not get it on target. looks like Gianluigi Donnarumma had the area covered, but he cut inside and tried to sort of slice it to the far post. Wasn't too far off. PSG on the counter attack. Once again, Akraf Hakimi, Dembele leading the charge. Mendes barely got there. Luis Enrique consulting one of his assistants on how to better their fortunes tonight, because they know that if they do not win at home, then it will be an even tougher ask at Stamford Bridge. Oh, Anton Semenyo had the cutback, attempting to find Brad Erling Haaland, but he was unsuccessful. It's a corner kick for Manchester City. Not that they are very effective at these kinds of things. An easy collection for Thibaut Courtois. Real Madrid are bringing on Eduardo Camavinga. I think it will be Ran Ashnory is also coming on for Semenyo. Bernardo Silva has been withdrawn for Ran Chaki. Those are some odd changes. Oh, that was a mistake. It's not Adagula that they attempted. They wanted to take off. I think the fourth official got that one wrong. Sid Dinhausen telling Adagula, no, you're not the one supposed to come off. Relax, mate. Was that the case? Oh, he's finally come off Adagula for Eduardo Camavinga. Uh-oh. Oh. Ruben Diaz nearly committed the halwa right in the Manchester City box. Wow, it's lucky to get away with that one. Run, Chucky. Oh. He had to react on time, otherwise, Brahim Diaz was right there. Manchester City have yet to create any sort of clear-cut goal-scoring chance in this game, or really that big opportunity that you look at and think of and you know, say to yourself that this is the chance, perhaps, really. Henry has tried to go from distance, but I think Chouameni put in the timely block. Oh, meanwhile, it's a goal. Bodo Glimt are leading Sporting CP by 3-0. They are leading Sporting CP by 3-0. Wow. What a night. What a performance. Almost feel like an Ajax of 2019. PSG have managed to keep Joao Pedro quiet tonight. It's one of those Chelsea players that have hardly had quiet nights recently. Meanwhile, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Fran Garcia had almost gifted Manchester City. Had it not been for the feat of Thibaut Courtois, by now it would be 3-1 for Manchester City. That guy, Ho, is the goal scorer. It's a goal. Vitinha scores to make it 3-2. Philip Jorgensen has decided to take a leaf out of, to pluck a page out of Antonin Kinski's book from yesterday, and PSG have scored to make it 3-2. A back pass from Wesley Fofana, and he makes a mess of that. Kivicha Kvaratskhelia wins the ball back. He makes a mess of that. Oh, Kivicha Kvaratskhelia. Bradley Bakola wins it back. is the one that intercepts the ball. It goes to Kivicha Kvaratskhelia, who passes it to Vitinha, and he loops it over the goalkeeper. And it's 3-2 for PSG against Chelsea. He knows that that was a huge mistake. His counterpart was taken out with about 13 minutes left to play. All home teams are doing tremendously well tonight. PSG, here they come again. Kivicha Kvaratskhelia, the Georgian international. Oh. Can be a deadly man. Ole Didak has been withdrawn for Bodo Glimt. Ranchaki was brought on to change things, but the only thing is changed is his positions on the turf, but nothing more in this game thus far. Chelsea, here they come again, looking for that equalizer, but Matevi Safonov came right out. Real Madrid have made amends. Meanwhile, PSG are withdrawing Bradley Barcola for Barcola and Warren Zaire-Emery are being withdrawn for Lucas Hernandez and Seni Mayuru. Meanwhile, Real Madrid have withdrawn Brahim Diaz for Franco Mastantuano, as well as Manel Angel has come on for Pina. Yep. Chelsea, here they come again. Chelsea are not doing themselves any favors by retreating two back. Come on. Jamie Doku, just hit the ball. Hit it on goal. You do not have to dart inwards. And that's the poor decision making that I keep saying. Just needs to take a strike of that ball, but then he tries to cut back inside and the ball is cleared by Eduardo Camavinga. Gets a touch of it before it ends off Doku and goes out. Oh. Chelsea thought they had scored the equalizer through João Pedro, who has been quiet all night, but he's been flagged for offside, and it remains 3-2. It will be checked, of course. I think the offside was on Enzo Fernandez and not Bradley. And not João Pedro. Oh. It's been checked, and it's offside. It won't count. Chelsea will have to try and do it all over again, but PSG will know that if they get complacent again, Chelsea are very, very capable of hurting them. Akraf Hakimi has decided to play rugby as opposed to football. As offside by mile. Imagine in Arsene Wenger's new proposed rule, that wouldn't have been that would that have been an offside? Not too sure, but it appeared clear cut. At long last, Man City have withdrawn the shadow of Brad Erling Haaland to bring on Omar Mamouche. PSG, once they get that ball, they can't go on quick transitions, and if you give them the spaces, they'll hurt you. Meanwhile, Alexander Trent-Arnold has been withdrawn for Danny Carvajal. Chelsea are introducing Romeo Lavia and Liam Delap. I don't know why they bother bringing on Liam Delap. I don't know why they even bother. You're better off bringing on Garnacho and perhaps push Pedro Neto to play centrally. But Joao Pedro has been taken off. Cole Palmer taken off for Romeo Lavia, perhaps to bring a little bit of more compactness in that midfield. Liam Delap, here he comes. Wasted opportunity for him. Just can't hit the targets. Bodo Glimt are chasing for the fourth, and they nearly got it. Nearly got it. PSG, here they come, looking for the fourth equally. Took Too many touches on that one. And Chelsea are back in shape. Jesus Christ. How many positions does Vitinha play on a day? He's all over the place. He's like the conservative version of Bernardo Silva. He'll be everywhere and anywhere on that pitch. He's like the modern day N'Golo Kante. He's like, I think he has 3 lungs instead of 2. He never stops running. What a goal. What a beauty. Kivica Kvaratskhelia scores to make it 4-2 for PSG against Chelsea. That is out of the top draw. Top draw. Top draw. Wow. What a goal. What a strike for the 26-year-old Georgian international in Kivica Kvaratskhelia. Ball is nicked off Rich James. I told you he has that an overconfidence to him. But wow, Kivica Kvaratskhelia, right from next to the D arc on the 18 yards box. Oh, there's nowhere Felipe Jorgensen was getting his hands on that. That is sublime. That is sensational. PSG 4, Chelsea 2. If it ends that way, that would mean that Chelsea will need to win by 3-0 in the reverse fixture to advance to the quarterfinals. PSG, here they come again. Kivica Kvaratskhelia. With the cutback. Seni Mayuru. Not sure that was a foul. Meanwhile, Manchester City have a free kick in a very interesting area. Meanwhile, Kivica Kvaratskhelia has been booked, I think, for playing on after the whistle had gone. Garnacho has been brought on for Malo Gusto. That means Reece James goes to right back. Straight to the goalkeeper, Thibaut Courtois. But it was a good hit. Fede Valverde's first hat-trick in the 20th minute, 27th minute, and 42nd minute remain the difference between Real Madrid and Manchester City. That means Man City will need to win by 4-0 in the reverse fixture. That doesn't make a good spell for Arsenal's exploits in the Premier League title. We'll discuss that, because if Real Madrid get to knock out Man City out of the UEFA Champions League, that means that Arsenal will have a Champions League game to play in midweek before going away to Man City in the Premier League. Real Madrid, here they come again. Fede Valverde could not find Vinicius Junior. It won't count, but PSG had gotten in the 50th. Somebody participated in play when he was clearly from an offside position. But Philip Jurgensen, no, it wasn't his fault this time around. Ball is being passed to, was it Enzo Fernandez? Enzo Fernandez telling his goalkeeper, Philip Jurgensen, that we are being pressed so much, go long, enough with the short passes. Well, I do not know what the instructions might have been from Liam Rafinha, but that is where the brain of the player comes in. What does your intuition tell you? What do you read in the game? Read the game. Beyond the manager's instructions, read the game. Meanwhile, there's a bit of a spat in the PSG Chelsea game, I think arising from an off pitch incident with the ball boy or something. The incident will be reviewed further. Not sure exactly what happened until those players crammed up in the same area. There could be a red card in this one. We're having the preview of this game, and somebody said they are going to place a bet on Chelsea getting a red card in this one. If it were to be given, then they will be smiling themselves to the bank. The ball boy picks up the ball, and it gets pushed by Pedro Neto. Why is the ball boy holding on to that ball? Should be handing it over. You're the ball boy. Your role is to hand over the ball, not to try to play games with it, to try and time waste. Richard James having once there with Luis Enrique. How did Vitinha think that that was a throw-in in the first place? Meanwhile, the game at the Santiago Bernabeu is finished. Real Madrid 3, Manchester City 0. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Here they come, PSG again. It's a goal. Kivica Kvaratskhelia with the 5th goal of the night. Chelsea are being blown away. Now, they will need to win this reverse fixture by 4-0 if they are to advance. Jesus Christ. I may have underestimated this PSG side, but that was just poor. Kvaratskhelia off the bench and on with the brace. He has a yellow card already to his name, but that won't matter. Wow. This is PSG at their very best. Oh, beautiful cutback from Achraf Hakimi. Kivica Kvaratskhelia places it right into the goal. Doesn't even get a good touch of it. Sort of goes off his sort of starts, kind of midway his leg, and it hits the back of the net. So much for goalkeeping changes for Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspurs. Now that is the kind of performance that gives you all the advantage that you need going into the reverse fixture. It's game over. Chelsea 2, PSG 5. Wow. Premier League teams getting demolished at the round of 16. Tottenham Hotspurs were beaten 5-2 yesterday. Arsenal were held to Bayer Leverkusen to 1-1 draw. PSG have just put 5 past Chelsea. What's the difference between Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspurs at this stage? Really? Man City have been blown away by 3-0 against Real Madrid. Who else? Newcastle, I think by far have looked the better side of any English team at the round of 16, even though they were held to 1-1 draw by Barcelona yesterday. Wow. That is not the kind of performance. Liverpool got beat. In other words, only 2 English Premier League teams out of the 6 at the round of 16 have not lost the first leg of the round of 16. And that's Arsenal and Newcastle, both held to draws. Liverpool lost, Man City have lost, Tottenham lost, Chelsea have lost. Ivica Kvaratskhelia. Remember that name. Meanwhile, the Bodo Glimt game is equally done. It's finished. Bodo Glimt 3, Sporting CP 0. Wow. Wow. What a night. What a night of Champions League football. Champions League is the gift that keeps on giving. Really. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful night of UEFA Champions League football. For those of you that enjoyed it, welcome back from all that action from the UEFA Champions League tonight. It's been quite scintillating performances from Real Madrid to PSG on the other side, to Bodo Glimt. Underwhelming performance from Arsenal, but they still managed to draw at least 1-1 on the night. So it will go down, and not as a defeat to them, but as something. So yeah, I mean, for all the plaudits English Premier League teams may have gotten, finishing within the top 8, with only Newcastle finishing out of the top 8 at the league phase, they have been beaten, thoroughly beaten, at least 3 of them. Chelsea beaten by 5-2. Tottenham beaten by 5-2 against Atletico de Madrid. Manchester City swept away by Real Madrid by 3-0. Fede Valverde, what a performance from the Uruguayan international. And then Liverpool yesterday got beat by 1-0. Newcastle shared the spoils with Barcelona in a 1-1 draw. The only team that did not win, that deserved to win, while Arsenal struggled against the low block of Bayer Leverkusen tonight. And that game finished in a 1-1 draw eventually. I think we are seeing how dead the Premier League is, how dead the Premier League has become, with its boring obsession with long throws and crowding keepers. They've forgotten how to play football. That's from Mark Goldbridge. That's from Mark Goldbridge. And then somebody reacted to that saying, it only took you weeks to change your mind on this. 5 Premier League teams qualified straight and everyone praised the Premier League. Now this, Aha. Somebody says the UEFA Champions League wasn't ready for Bodo Glimt. Perhaps indeed they weren't ready. Perhaps indeed they weren't ready. Bodo Glimt has just blown away Sporting Lisbon by 3-0. Ho, among the goal scorers in that one. Meanwhile, tomorrow, do not forget there's also the round of 16 for the UEFA Europa League action. That action will be coming to you. Bologna will be up against AC Roma. Lille will host Aston Villa. Panathinaikos will be up against Real Betis, or VfB Stuttgart will take on FC Porto. All those 4 games kick off at 8:45 p.m. While at 11 p.m. you will have Celta Vigo against Lyon, French Varos against Braga, Genk against Freiburg, Nottingham Forest against Midtjylland, as well as the UEFA Conference League will be coming at the round of 16 tomorrow. So do not miss out on any of that action for those of you that might be interested in it. So just for a recap, Bodo Glimt squad through fate. That was a penalty. Bloomberg as well as Ho to win that game by 3-1. Ho and the sub player called Kasper. He's called Kasper Ho, and then his counterpart, called Jens Haig. Jens Haig has provided a burst of assists tonight as Bodo Glimt put 3 past Sporting CP. Like I've told you, Grimaldo, Alex Grimaldo provided the assist as Robert Andrich scored the header from a corner kick to give Bayer Leverkusen the lead, while a late penalty that was won by Noni Madueke was converted by Kai Havertz to make it 1-1 for the Arsenal. That game finished 1-1, and then Freddy Valverde's first half hat-trick was enough to make sure that Real Madrid blew away Manchester City, beating them by 3-0. Looks like out of all the predictions that I made in regards to the teams that may qualify from the round of 16 to the quarterfinals, I may barely get half right. I need to go back through my notes and I tried to find out what those teams were when I made those predictions. I don't know if I can find them quickly enough to see, for us to be able to check through what my predictions were at the time, but it doesn't look like it's the kind of it doesn't look like that I got many right. I'll need to flip through many of my notes, but I do remember some of them off it. My prediction was for Man City to get the better of Real Madrid over 2 legs, for Chelsea to get the better of PSG over 2 legs. Those are looking like distant possibilities at this stage after the first legs. Then also, my prediction was for Sporting Lisbon. I was a bit torn on that one, but maybe for Sporting CP to get the better of Bodo Glimt. Okay, perhaps I'm closer to finding them. Then I think Arsenal Bayer Leverkusen, I think I went for Arsenal. Then also Atletico de Madrid versus Tottenham, I think I went with Tottenham. I just can't find my notes on that. I just can't find my notes on that. Perhaps I did take note of that, but at least, you know. Anyways, so yes, and for Barcelona Newcastle, I went for Barcelona to get through over 2 legs. We'll wait and see what comes out of the Camp Nou. And then Liverpool Galatasaray, I went for Liverpool to edge it over 2 legs. They already find themselves a goal behind after the first leg. And then what was the other game? Trying to remember. The other game that was played yesterday, other than Atletico de Madrid versus Spurs, Newcastle, Barcelona, Liverpool, Liverpool against Galatasaray. What was the other game? Yes, Atalanta, Bayern Munich. I went for Bayern Munich. So that means the only team that I'm rest assured will go through after the first leg of the round of 16 will be Bayern Munich. So why don't you allow me wrap it up here? Thank you so much, Ban. Thank you so much, Sakani. Thank you so much, Isabella Martin. Thank you so much, Ndiaye, and every single one of you that managed to be part of tonight's broadcast. Allow me wish you a blessed night, and let's catch up until tomorrow morning. Bye-bye for now.